Hello and welcome to the first audio edition of Student Voices. I'm Izzy, one of the peer advisors. I'm a senior concentrating in ethics and social justice, and I'm here with Allison. Allison, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Izzy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to kind of talk about my experience with Arrupe today, but just to give a little bit of background, I'm a senior as well. IS major with my concentration in ethics and social justice, and minoring in Spanish and management.
All right, so today Allison's going to share with us her experience on the Arrupe International Immersion trip to El Salvador. I'll be posting some relevant information to what the Arrupe program does and what it is, but I'll just open it up now to Allison to tell me about how the experience was.
Thank you. So yeah, I think honestly, like going to El Salvador with Arrupe has been one of the most powerful experiences I've had, one in my life, also at Boston College. And I think because part of what I love about BC is all the ideas rooted in service. And so that's always been some of the values that are really important to me as well. And so I've had experience in the past doing other international service trips, but I think that what made Arrupe so meaningful and also different from past experiences is it wasn't like we went somewhere, we built a house, or we did something that was a physical project. It was much more listening, understanding, and meeting with different groups of people, whether it was women empowerment groups or survivors of the Civil War, and just listening to their stories and then sharing our personal experiences. I think making that connection with others is a little bit harder to grasp and understand, like, okay, this is meaningful work, but in a lot of ways it was, because then now bringing these stories back to BC and saying, okay, like, here are the people we met, listening and hearing their strength through all that they've been through, and then sharing it with our communities here and continuing their story and passing it along helps give them a voice that they probably wouldn't have otherwise. And so I think, like, that's just something that has really been sticking with me, and it's honestly translated a lot of what I've learned through my IS classes here at BC, and connecting that with my experience in El Salvador. I can see my future as I look to graduation. I'm thinking about going into law school and a future in the legal career, and continuing those stories and connections and circling back to those communities is definitely something I want to keep with me as I look to post-grad.
So it sounds like you got to meet a lot of people, and I'm sure it's an extensive list to choose from, but could you tell me about one person who really impacted you that you met in El Salvador?
Oh gosh, there's so many amazing people, but the first person that comes to mind for me is this woman named Teresa. And so one day we met with a nonprofit called Programa Velasquez, and they're a women's empowerment group that looks to give women who don't have opportunities otherwise to further their skills or trades through entrepreneurship. So Teresa is a woman from El Salvador, and she started this business called Amatai. And so we were lucky to go to her house and see her workshop, and she makes these beautiful, like, pottery dishes and bowls and intricate like bags, and just, it was like every item that she had was made with such love. And she kept saying, it's an honor to have you all here. And she explained about her background and her family, but she just was so lucky and felt so honored. But we, on the flip side, also felt so honored. And so I think that, like, it was so inspiring hearing the stories and seeing the strength of the women who had been so much after the El Salvador Civil War, that I was just blown away by how hard of a worker she is. And it really embodied the mission of the nonprofit that helps support these women, which is Acompañar para Empoderar, which means to accompany, to empower. And so I think that we have a responsibility to continue to support groups like this. And so bringing back, like, some of the pottery and bags, like, I've given them to my friends, and they've been following them on Instagram. So just, giving their story a voice here back in our own communities has been really cool. And yeah, so I just want to continue that. And I do think about her every time I look at the little bowl sitting on my desk here. So I think that was a really special day.
Is there anything else you want to share?
I think I definitely would recommend, if you haven't heard of Arrupe, looking into it. and just taking advantage of opportunities like it at BC and through the International Studies Department are a great way to kind of connect what you're learning in the classroom, but also take advantage of the opportunities that are offered. So it was a great week, and I could talk about it for hours.
Thanks so much, Allison. To continued empowerment.
Indeed.